Some of the phenomena revealed as portents of the end times in the Hadiths may have taken place at other times in various parts of the world. But that does not mean that those days were the end times. Because in order for a period to be described as the end times, all of the portents foretold by our Prophet, peace be upon him, have to come about within a specific time interval and to take place one after the other. This special situation regarding the events of the end times is set out in this way in the Hadiths. The signs of the last day will follow one another, like beads strung out one behind the other. These signs chase one another, just as fish break out of their net and escape chasing one another. The natural disasters taking place in our day are literally following one another. It is a statistical fact that there has been a rise in both the number and scale of natural disasters in recent years. According to the 13th World Disasters Report, natural disasters caused the loss of 901,177 lives between 1995 and 2004. At the same time, more than 2.5 billion people were affected materially or psychologically, and at least $738 billion worth of damage was caused. Now let us all have a look at the natural disasters that our Prophet, peace be upon him, foretold about the last day, and some examples that have taken place in our day. The hour will not be established until earthquakes will be very frequent. There are two great events before the last day, and then years of earthquakes. There will be disagreements and frequent earthquakes. The powerful earthquakes that have taken place in recent years continue to occupy a major place on the public agenda across the world. According to data from the U.S. National Earthquake Information Center, 20,832 small and large-sized earthquakes took place worldwide in 1999. According to official statements, 22,711 people are estimated to have died in these earthquakes, just as our Prophet, peace be upon him, revealed in a hadith. There will be earthquakes in my community, so much so that 10,000, 20,000, 30,000 people will die. According to U.S. Geological Survey (USGS) reports, there were merely 110 earthquakes measuring 5.0 or more between 1556 and 1975. Just in the 23 years from 1980 to 2003, however, the number of major earthquakes was 1,685. As we have seen, while the number of earthquakes used to be very small, the number of quakes has risen considerably since Hijri 1400. Just a few of the earthquakes over the last 30 years are: a quake measuring 7.8 struck China on July 28, 1976. 242,000 people lost their lives and 164,000 were injured. 20,000 people lost their lives and 500,000 were made homeless in an earthquake in Armenia on December 7, 1988. 40,000 people died and 100,000 were injured in an earthquake in Iran, measuring 7.7 that struck on June 20th, 1990. The Kobe earthquake in 1995 caused damage put at 100 billion, despite lasting only 20 seconds. 25,000 people lost their lives and 166,000 were injured in an earthquake measuring 6.7 in India on January 26, 2001. An earthquake measuring 6.7 in Iran on December 26, 2003 cost the lives of 31,884 people and another 18,000 were injured. 300,000 people lost their lives in a tsunami that struck following an earthquake measuring 9.0 in Indonesia on December 26, 2004. Some 100,000 people were killed in an earthquake measuring 7.6 in Pakistan on October 8, 2005. An earthquake measuring 7.0 in Haiti on January 12, 2010 cost the lives of some 200,000 people. The 8.9 earthquake that struck Japan on March 11, 2011 was the largest to hit the country for 140 years. Thousands of people were killed or disappeared in the tsunami that followed the quake. Many other earthquakes, great and small, have also taken place during the last 30 years. In other words, since Hijri 1400. Thousands of people have been made homeless in the wake of these earthquakes. Our Prophet, peace be upon him, refers to this state of affairs in a hadith. The days when you can find no homes to shelter you or animals to carry you have come close, because earthquakes will demolish your houses. In addition to the hadith of our Prophet, peace be upon him, there are also verses in the Quran that refer to the link between the earthquakes and the last day, and Allah knows the truth. The 99th surah of the Quran is called Al-Zilzal, which means the earthquake. A powerful quake is described in this surah, following which it is revealed that the day of reckoning when the dead are resurrected and will have to give account for themselves in the presence of Almighty Allah will follow. I seek refuge in Allah from the accursed Satan. When the earth is convulsed with its quaking, and the earth then disgorges its charges, and man asks, "What is wrong with it?" On that day it will impart all its news because your Lord has inspired it. That day, people will emerge segregated to see the results of their actions. Whoever does an atom's weight of good will see it. Whoever does an atom's weight of evil will see it. Mr. Adnan Akhtar said this about the Japanese earthquake during a live conversation on March 11, 2011 on TV Kayseri.
Bir saat önce de yeni bir deprem olmuş hocam. Japonya'da 7.9 şiddetinde yeni bir tsunami dalgası bekliyorlarmış.
Japonlar hiç umursamıyorlar. Hiç. Allah peş peşe getiriyor. Ya bir düşünsenize bu neden oluyor? Değil mi? Neden bu şeyler meydana geliyor? Allah'ı düşünmek, değil mi? Allah'a tövbe etmek, Allah'a yakın olmak gerekirken adamlar işinde güdüğünde.
Bir film var hocam.
Evet.
Bayağı lakayt olduklarını gösteren depremde.
Anlamıyor adamlar ya. Bak bu bütün bina sallanıyor, hiç muhatap dahi olmuyorlar. Memuriler oturuyorlar. Baksana adamlar sanki salıncakta sallanıyorlar. Acayip rahatlar. Evet. Yani ibret alıp düşüneceklerine, değil mi yani? Bir hikmet gözüyle bakacaklarına öyle seyrediyorlar. Allah daha şiddetlisini veriyor, onu da öyle seyrediyorlar. Bu önümüzdeki günlerde şiddeti artarak depremler yine devam edecek. Yani bütün dünyada devam edecek. Bunu göreceksiniz. Yani o grafikte bir düşme yok. Mehdi çıkıncaya kadar devam. Mehdi çıktıktan sonra da bir bakın o grafiklere, yine bakın. Bilimsel olarak bakın. Aniden düştüğünü göreceksiniz. Yani o grafikte çok ciddi bir düşme olacaktır. Bunu da göreceksiniz.
İnşallah.
Hem depremlerde, hem sellerde, hem dünyadaki bereketsizlikte ani bir düşme olacak. Mehdi devrinde. Mehdiyetin önemini ve büyüklüğünü görmek açısından Cenab-ı Allah özel olarak bunu meydana getiriyor. Mesela gök taşları 1980 yılından itibaren dünyanın milyonlarca yıllık tarihinde görülmemiş şekilde birdenbire çok fazla katlı arttı.
Another of the natural phenomena our Prophet, peace be upon him, foretells in the end times, immediately before the last day, is torrential rains. The hour will not come until there has been rain which destroys all dwellings. The hour does not come until torrential rains fall, and all mud brick buildings except for the stone ones collapse. Floods resulting from torrential rain are great natural disasters that cause people to lose their lives and possessions. Recent floods in particular have led to significant loss of life and property in various parts of the world. These include floods in Europe in recent years. Torrential rains affecting almost all of Europe have caused rivers to burst their banks, with large parts of major European cities being flooded. Another example in the floods caused by the monsoon rains in Nepal and Bangladesh in 2002. Some 1,000 people lost their lives in floods and landslides caused by torrential summer rains in China in August 2002. 40,000 homes were destroyed in floods and landslides caused by torrential rains in Sri Lanka in 2003. Some of the latest examples of these signs foretold in the Hadiths are the torrential rains in Ethiopia and the monsoons in Asia in August 2006, and Allah knows the truth. Our Prophet, peace be upon him, revealed 1,400 years ago that the heavy rainfall in the time we are living in, the end times, would lead to disasters. The hour will not come until there has been rain which destroy all dwellings. The hour does not come until all mud brick buildings, except for the stone ones, collapse. Increased rains, decreased vegetation are signs of the approach of the day of reckoning. We see on the television and read in the papers about more disasters than there have ever been before. It is a statistical fact that in recent years, natural disasters have seen a growth both in numbers and in the losses they have caused. The natural disasters that have taken place in many countries of the world during the end times in which we are living have impacted millions of people and caused incalculable damage. The famine would not break out because of drought, but there would be famine, despite heavy rainfall, as nothing would grow from the earth. There will be treacherous years in which rains are plentiful, but fertility is low. Yes, O Selman, when a comet appears and there are increased floods. Examination of a graph showing the floods across the world from 1950 to 2000 shows that this increase has stepped up pace many times over the last 30 years. 1991, Bangladesh. More than 120,000 people lost their lives in floods, and millions were left homeless. 2000, Mozambique. Floods left more than 1 million people homeless. 2002, India, Nepal, Bangladesh. Some 1,000 people died in floods caused by the seasonal rains, the monsoon. 2003, China. 2,000 people died and 300,000 were made homeless by severe summer rains. 2004, Indonesia. 230,000 people lost their lives in flooding caused by a tsunami. 2007, Asia. 20 million people were made homeless. 2008, India. 2,400 people died due to severe rains continuing uninterrupted for 3 months. 2010, Pakistan. 70% of Pakistan was left underwater. 4 million people were made homeless. More than 1,000 lost their lives, and thousands more just disappeared. 2010, Colombia. 1.3 million people were left homeless. 2011, Brazil. 700 people lost their lives in the worst disaster in the country's history, and 14,000 were left homeless. As our Prophet, peace be upon him, reveals in the Hadiths, the floods of the end times caused by rains that have led to the loss of tens of thousands of lives, millions being made homeless, nothing being left standing, and devastation of harvests have taken place at an intensive rate over the last 30 years. Abu Sa'id al-Khudri narrates that the Prophet, peace be upon him, said from the pulpit, "The promised Hazrat Mahdi ﷺ from the Ahl al-Bayt will appear in the end times. The sky will pour its rain on him, and the earth will sprout its plants. After people have filled the world with oppression, he will fill it with justice." Despite 200 years of research, lightning is still a major mystery for the scientific world. Lightning is the world's most powerful electrical force and has a high burning power, despite being produced by ice. Lightning temperatures can rise to as high as 8,307 degrees, 5 times greater than the temperature on the surface of the sun. Increased lightning strikes are also described as a portent of the end times in the Hadiths. Earthquakes will demolish your homes, and lightning will burn your livestock and turn them into coal. Lightning will so multiply as the hour approaches that people will say to one another, "Who was struck by lightning yesterday?" And they will answer, "Lightning struck this and that person yesterday." Just as described in the Hadiths, there has been a recent increase in loss of life and property caused by lightning strikes. Footballers playing a match in Congo in 1998 died when lightning struck the pitch. Six people lost their lives when lightning struck a football pitch in Mexico in 2001. 4 people lost their lives in Romania in 2004 in a lightning strike during a storm, and 400 homes were severely damaged. 52 cows were killed when lightning struck a farm in Uruguay in 2008. 23 people died in lightning-related incidents in Turkey in 2009. In addition, just as related in the Hadiths, increasing numbers of lightning strikes are causing many people to lose their lives and the destruction of many animals. Hurricanes. There has been a significant rise in a number of hurricanes since Hijri 1400 or 1980 AD, the year of the coming of Mahdi alayhi salam. This is one of the signs foretold by our Prophet, peace be upon him, in great details hundreds of years before our day, and is one of the proofs that have come about one after the other in our time. Just as set out in the Hadiths, Doomsday will not take place until 10 portents are seen. The 10th is a storm that will hurl people into the sea. In 1992, Hurricane Andrew cost the lives of 40,000 people and left 250,000 homeless. Approximately 500 to 1,000 people were killed by the storms that hit western Bangladesh on May 13, 1996. A further 30,000 people were injured and 100,000 people lost their homes. More than 9,000 people died during Hurricane Mitch in October 1998. A further 15,000 people disappeared, and a total of 2.3 million were affected by the hurricane in some way. Hurricane Katrina that struck in August 2005 devastated 8 towns in Mississippi. 80% of New Orleans was destroyed and some 2,000 people lost their lives. The hurricane caused damage to the tune of some $100 billion. The number of people missing was put at 35,000, and hundreds of thousands of buildings were made uninhabitable, while hundreds of thousands more suffered severe damage. What becomes of you when death meets people and homes become graves? One striking feature of this hurricane was that New Orleans was almost entirely flooded when the walls built to protect it from floods collapsed. This is a manifestation of the storm that will cast people into the sea described in the Hadith. Hurricane Sidr that struck Bangladesh in November 2007, blowing at a speed of 250 kilometers an hour, ended in the loss of 3,200 lives and terrible destruction. Waves up to 6 meters high caused by the hurricane demolished thousands of homes and led to the disappearance of some 1,000 people. The hurricane affected 5 million people and is regarded as one of the worst disasters of the century. Hundreds of thousands of people disappeared during Hurricane Nargis that struck Myanmar in 2008. The death toll rose to 10,000. Hundreds of people died in Typhoon Morakot in Taiwan in 2009, while the cost of the devastation caused by the storm was put at $267 million. Hurricane Ketsana devastated South Asian countries in 2009. Doomsday will not take place until 10 portents are seen. The 10th is a storm that will hurl people into the sea.